How's it going, you guys? Damocles here, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not Energy Amplifier is good, bad, or hot garbage. Just like in my floatstone video that you guys really appreciated, we're going to be testing whether or not everything that is a part of Energy Amplifier's description actually is working as intended. So I'm going to do some tests with it on, I'm going to do some tests without it on. That way we will know whether or not it actually works properly. The reason why I'm doing this is because a bunch of you were commenting in my held items tier list video and my floatstone video that a bunch of other items were broken, and I want to see for myself and for you guys so that you know what items you should be investing in or what items you should be putting into your builds. So that's why we're doing Energy Amplifier. As always, if you guys like this content, please consider subscribing. It's totally free and it would really help me out. Trying to hit 20K subs, and you guys have been great so far, so I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing and liking. But regardless, let's talk about Energy Amplifier. So Energy Amplifier gives you a 21% damage increase when you use your Unite move. This is a buff that should persist a little bit after the Unite move is used as well, but we will test that out. It also increases your Unite move charge rate by 6% and reduces your cooldowns by 4.5%. We're going to test every single one of these out, and it should be a fun old time. Now, a little bit weird thing here, but I need to address it. I'm going to be running both of these tests with Shell Bell on. And please do not turn off your channels. Don't turn off your TVs, folks. Shell Bell is worthless on Cinderace. Never, ever, ever pick it on this character. He does not scale off special attack in any way. It is not going to have any bearing on the test. The only reason why I'm using it is for the cooldown reduction. Cinderace's Faint, if you don't know, is a 13-second cooldown, and that's what we're gonna be testing the Energy Amplifier cooldown with. But the problem is 4.5% of that 13 seconds basically equates to half a second of cooldown reduction. So if I just have Energy Amplifier on and no other cooldown reduction items, we're not going to be able to tell whether or not the cooldown reduction is actually working, because you won't be able to see it numerically on the screen. Does that make sense? And I know that Shell Bell has no bearing on these tests, but I know I'm going to get a bunch of comments saying like, oh no, Shell Bell's increasing damage or whatever. So just to nip that in the bud, I'm going to run Shell Bell on both of these tests, just so that we know the only thing changing between the tests is Energy Amplifier. Okay, but please, please, please never run Shell Bell on Cinderace. It is not a good item in any way, shape, or form. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments, and I will address them as politely as I possibly can. Okay, so this test is without Energy Amplifier, and just to get a feel of what the actual control is. So Faint, 13-second cooldown, you can see it right there. And so we're going to be checking in the next test whether or not the cooldown reduction goes to 12 seconds instead of 13 seconds with Energy Amplifier on, but that is for later in the video. As for Blaze Kick, we're testing the damage output of Blaze Kick. You can see that the move damage is 1,125. This is consistent across the board. It will not change. So you will see it again, 1,125 damage from Blaze Kick. The basic attacks, I just know from experience that Cinderace's basic attack without crit should be 418 damage. So let's check it out. Yep, 418 damage. That's what we should be seeing across all tests. Without any kind of damage amplification and any crits. So 418 damage, keep that in your little noggins, and or maybe big noggins. I don't know if you have big head or not. And now for the Unite move damage. Let's go and check out the Unite move damage. Boom, 2,163 damage, and that, just like the other abilities, is not going to change. It's going to be the same, 2,163 damage for the Unite move. So you can see Cinderace, that is the damage output that we should be expecting without any kind of buffs, and that is the cooldown reduction that we should be expecting without any kind of buffs. Now for the final tests, we've covered the damage output and everything. We've covered the cooldown reduction. Now we're testing the Unite move charge rate. Okay, so the charge rate is basically how fast is this Unite move going to go from 0 to 100, and is it going to be impacted in a certain way by like wild Pokemon camps and stuff like that in the future video. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Unite move, and then I'm going to try and get the percentage charge rate to like a certain amount, and then I'm going to kill one of these buff camps just so that we can try and get a feeling on, oh gosh darn it, KO'd it by accident. Okay, sorry, we'll do it on Ludicolo then. So, let's get you nice and low. Okay, so he's low. So basically, I'm going to use the Unite move. I'm going to come over. I'm going to KO Ludicolo, and we're going to see how much that charge rate bumps up. It's a little hard to tell, so you guys let me know if you disagree with anything I'm seeing or saying. But this is going to be the most accurate attempt at a charge rate test. So again, let's go and use that, and then I will wait for it to move up slightly. Let's go at 10%. I'll go and I will hit the Ludicolo with a Blaze Kick to see. Okay, and boom. So that looks like a 4% charge rate. Does that seem about right? 4% when we KO'd the Ludicolo, went from 10 to 14. You could say maybe 10 to 13, and just like the additional second bumped it to 14. But so you're looking at a 3 to 4% additional charge boost when you KO a wild Pokemon, okay? And I mean, we couldn't test it on Mr. Buffalo here too. Let's go and hit him a couple times, or it, or her, whatever it is. The Buffalo. So let's get this to 40%, and then I will go and hit the Buffalo, and boom. So again, 4%. So that's what we're looking at for base charge rate. Now, the boring part, I am going to use the Unite move and skip ahead a little bit so that you guys don't have to sit through the entire recharge of the Unite move without anything happening. I'm just going to literally AFK here and wait for the timer to tick down. So let's just wait for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and use the Unite move. Let's make sure that is on, okay? And then I will see you guys back here shortly. So here we go, boom, 5, okay. So now the charge rate begins, and I'm literally just gonna sit here and not hit any wild Pokemon camps. So let me skip ahead in the video and come back when it's just about to come off cooldown so that we can see how long it actually takes for it to recharge with no influence on it whatsoever. And again, we're gonna go and we're gonna repeat these same exact tests with Energy Amplifier on and compare and contrast the results for you guys. So I will catch you on the flippity flip. Okay, so the Unite move is about to just come off cooldown. It looks like it's going to be right on the dot at 2.5 minutes to get Cinderace's Unite move back without any kind of outside influence. So that's going to be our control. That's going to cover all of our control tests for the remainder of this. The last one I will do is I'm just going to go and, just so you guys can see that there's no weird damage amplification after using Unite move, I'm going to go and hit the Ludicolo with this, and then Blaze Kick, just so you can see Blaze Kick's damage is still 1,125. Okay, so let's hop over into the actual next testaroonie. Okay, so for the moment of truth tests, we're going to be running Shell Bell again and Energy Amplifier. Again, Shell Bell has no bearing on any of these tests. It's just to show the cooldown. So what should happen when we use Feint and we go in there, our Feint cooldown should basically immediately be at 12 seconds instead of starting at 13 seconds. That's going to indicate to us that Energy Amplifier is in fact working properly as far as the cooldown reduction is concerned. So hopefully that is what we see. And then I'm going to rerun all the other tests with Energy Amplifier on to see if the damage output and charge rate and everything like that works as intended. So let's find out, shall we? So let's go and boost up Cinderace. Okay, cool. And let's go make sure we get the right abilities. Blaze Kick and Feint. Unite move, Blaze Kick again, and Feint again. So here we should see that Feint starts at 12 seconds instead of 13 seconds. And it does. So we can confirm 100% officially that the CDR portion of Energy Amplifier is working 100% correct. That is a good sign. That is solid. Okay, so again, faint, 12 seconds when we use Energy Amplifier. The question is that worth it? I'll save it for the summary portion of this video, but just keep it in your head. Is that worth it? You're getting half of a second off if you're not using some other garbage item. Okay, so the actual damage test and everything, we already know that Blaze Kick here should do 1,125 damage when we hit it, and it does, so that is another success. If you see me looking down, by the way, I just wrote down some of the numbers so that like I can keep track of it in my head. Blaze Kick still 1,125. Our basic attacks, when we don't have a crit or anything like that, it should go and be 418. So let's try that. 418, wonderful. No change there. That should be obvious though. And then for the Unite move, let's go and use our Unite move and see the damage difference. So for reference, the first test that we did was 2,163 damage when we used our Unite move. And when we use it now, we see 2,684 damage, which is a nice little chunk of an increase. Now, let's see, what actual percentage is that? So I just have a percentage calculator pulled up on my other monitor. So that is going to be actually more than 21% damage increase. That actually looks to be more like 24% damage increase. So that means that that Energy Amplifier is actually giving you a higher damage boost than what was originally expected, in my opinion. So that is actually a good thing. So it looks like the damage boost, again, we'll just run it again, 2,684. I'm seeing that that's actually closer to a 24% damage increase rather than a 21% damage increase. So that is, again, really nice to hear. Now, as far as the damage amplification after using the Unite move, so we can already confirm that it does increase the Unite move damage substantially. But what about the damage afterwards? So I'm going to launch this Unite move at a random target, and then just for consistency's sake, because Blaze Kick is a guaranteed crit, and we don't have to worry about any kind of randomness, I'm going to go and use Blaze Kick on the target dummy after I use it. After I use the Unite move, that way we're going to be able to actually see whether or not there's a damage increase post Unite move as well. So let's just do that. We go and throw that out, and we hit him. And yep, you can see 1,351 as opposed to the 1,125 damage that we had before. So that shows that the damage increase is coming through on the opposite side of using the Unite move. So that's good, can confirm that works. How long does it last though? This is going to be a little tricky to show with Cinderace. But let's check it out. So I'm thinking that it starts at the very start of the Unite move. So I'm a little concerned that the actual uptime of the damage buff is not going to be that substantial when it comes to using other abilities. So I'm just going to basic attack the target dummy, and hopefully we can kind of tell through those basic attacks whether or not the damage buff is still being applied after a certain amount of time. Okay, so let me just get this to like 540 seconds, and then I will use it, and boom. Okay, and now we're hitting this, and it looks like it does not last for too long, unfortunately. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? Boom, boom, boom. 505. I think the 505 is the amplified number. You guys can. I'm trying to watch the numbers and watch the timer on the top, but if you guys see something different, it looks like the modified non-crit number is 505 damage for the basic attack, and obviously we know the control version is 418 without any kind of buffs. So if I go and I do this again, we should be able to see 505 and then 418. So it lasts about, it seems to last about 3 seconds post Unite move. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It's probably a little bit closer to 4 seconds post Unite move, just because the actual the wind-up time on Cinderace's Unite move probably is taking away a second or so from the actual damage buff afterwards. But that's kind of a different case. We'll talk about that more in the summary. But so we know damage increase is consistent and it works after the Unite move is used. How useful is it actually? That remains to be seen. But for the actual final tests, let's just go and let's see, turn the move cooldowns back on. I'm gonna go and hit this buffalo. Hit the buffalo. Okay, let's try not to crit it accidentally. Okay, good. So we'll hit that buff, and I'm gonna use Unite move again, and we're gonna wait for a nice little moment. And once the charge rate is at a nice little level, I'm going to go and I'm going to blaze kick the buff, and we're going to see if the charge rate is actually going to be increased. So at 10%, boom. Does not look like it, guys and girls, guys and gals. That does not look correct. So we have found our first little problem with Energy Amplifier, okay? It looks like, now, the actual damage amplification, let's go and just, let's try this one more time real quickly. So 35, yeah, so it looks like we're getting that 4% yet again. So I'm gonna go and turn on move cooldown again real quickly. I'm gonna use this. And from 241, we're going to see how long it takes for the Unite move to, again, come off cooldown with Energy Amplifier up. I'm going to skip ahead. Sorry for cracking my knuckles. I'm going to skip ahead again just so that you guys don't have to sit through 2.5 minutes of this. But before I do, I just want to talk a little bit about my concern here, and that is, so I was expecting either the Unite charge rate is going to be increased just at a base level, meaning like the time it takes for us to go from 0 to 100 without any wild Pokemon influence is just going to be a lot faster, or the charge that you actually acquire from KOing wild Pokemon is going to be increased by 6%. And the second of those we have just seen to not be correct. Now, if you guys see something different, let me know in the comments, obviously. But from my eyes, it looks like we're still getting that 4%-ish that we were getting from the first test, which tells me that that portion is probably not working correctly. But we will see from the actual cooldowns here, or not the cooldown, we'll see from the actual recharge without any wild Pokemon influence whether or not this Unite move charge rate base stat is working correctly on this item. And the tell is basically going to be, let's see, it took us 2.5 minutes for the first one, for the first test, the controlled test, and this Unite move, if it comes off cooldown like earlier than, when did I start it? If it comes off cooldown earlier than this, then like 10 seconds before the end of the match, then maybe it's working correctly. But right now, it's looking like it's going to be the exact same result as the control, which is telling me that it's not going to work correctly. And now it's been to the point I've been talking, so I won't even bother skipping ahead. We can just kind of see. Let's see, it's at 90% now, and in another 10 seconds or so, it's going to basically come out to the exact same amount of charge time as without Energy Amplifier. So that is very, very interesting. Wow, okay. So, all right. Well, let's do the summary section of this, guys. So what have we determined so far? We have determined from these tests, and I hope you guys enjoyed these tests. I hope they were stringent enough for you, transparent enough for you. We've determined that the cooldown reduction on Energy Amplifier is working as expected. We have determined that the damage amplification portion is working as expected. And we have determined that, from what I can tell, the Unite move charge rate does not seem to be working as intended. And I'm sorry if you keep hearing weird noise in the background. My garbage can keeps automatically opening. It's really weird. So yeah, I don't know if Energy Amplifier is actually worth using, except for like very specific cases, like a Charizard or a Cramorant, because how much you like it's kind of like almost like an opposite of the Floatstone situation, where Floatstone, the passive, the actual like effect of the item is not working that well, but the base stats could potentially help you out. Whereas with this one, the base stats kind of seem and the actual effect of the item is working properly, but it's very niche. Like, I might, in the next held items tier list, I might tweak Energy Amplifier a little bit. It might go down a few pegs. I actually think it's definitely going to go down a few pegs. And the reasoning is, this is what I think about when I look at this item, right? You're getting more damage, obviously. You're getting actually more damage than is advertised, at least from my test. Someone who's a math genius can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be doing like more like 24% increased damage. But the actual damage buff is not that long. It's like a 4-second damage buff. I initially thought, coming from the beta, I thought it was a little bit longer than that. And so the 4 seconds, I don't know if you are running it on anything but like your Charizards or your Cramorants, where you're using that Unite damage buff like with your actual Unite move. I don't know if it's worth actually, I don't know if the passive is worth the squeeze, right? I don't know if it's worth it, because when you're talking about Cinderace, for example, and you guys might not have liked that I use Cinderace, but Cinderace is somebody that I actually use this item on sometimes. You're talking about using that Unite move, you get that burst from the actual damage of the Unite move, and then I was kind of using it to allow me to chunk out like tanks, frontliners, or like carries, and like win duels a little bit easier with that damage buff after the Unite move is used. But it seems like from the test that only lasts for like about 3 to 4 auto attacks or basic attacks, and that is not a lot. And I don't know if that is really worth using an entire item slot on this item if the Unite move charge rate isn't working and the cooldown reduction is basically half a second off of one of the longest cooldown abilities in the game, right? So Unite move charge rate does not seem to be working, which you can just cross that out. So then you're looking at, do I want to use Energy Amplifier? This is at rank 30, by the way. So I think the cooldown at rank 20, you guys can let me know, it's probably more like 3%. That basically means that you're using this item for half a second off of a 13-second or more ability, right? Like, which is not every Pokemon. Like, for example, I'm just using Cramorant as an example because everybody runs Energy Amplifier on Cramorant. Cramorant's cooldowns, the most common ones, aside from the whatever it is, the Hurricane Slash thing that he does, like Surf is like a 6-second cooldown, and I think Hurricane is a 6-second cooldown. And so it's even less effective when you're using it on him as far as the base stats are concerned. The only base stat that's actually working, which is cooldown. So then you have to wonder, all right, the only other thing is that Unite move effectiveness. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm just trying to think about it in my head as well. I don't think that it's really that, I don't think it's worth using as much. Already, if you watched my tier list video, like most of these characters, like if you're running a attack character like Cinderace, you're going to go and you're going to run Muscle Band, Scope Lens, and then 99% of cases you're going to go and run Buddy Barrier because Buddy Barrier is amazing. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll go and I'll run Energy Amplifier sometimes in place of Buddy Barrier. But the fact is that I don't think this is as good of an item as I thought it was before. I think I misjudged it, and it's definitely going to go down a couple tiers in my opinion, unless it gets some changes, unless it sees some buffs by the Unite developers, because I don't think it's actually that great or that useful outside of if your character is doing the majority of their damage with their Unite move. And even then, maybe it's not worth running. Maybe you would get more overall damage if you were running like an entirely attack-centric build, like if you were running Muscle Band, Scope Lens, and Attack Weight, or Muscle Band, I mean, you would definitely get more damage running Attack Weight instead of Buddy Barrier, but like, you only got 3 items, and I don't know if I would use it on Energy Amplifier. And so that's the conclusion I've drawn from this. I'm sorry if this video went on too long. I'm sorry if I rambled too much, but I just thought it was an interesting test, and thank you. Gosh, I should have found the person in the comments who suggested me do this. I will put it in the description, I promise. But shout out to, or I'll put it below me right now in this video when I find it. But thank you guys so much for suggesting this video. Please keep suggesting videos. I love doing these. It's really interesting to me. I like, finding out if I'm wrong about stuff. And I hope you found it to be helpful and informational. I'm sorry if I rambled, but it is what it is. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Damocles out.